What is going on, everybody? It is Frank the Tank, and welcome to week number 11 of League. Oh man, I am feeling ultra excited right now because, forgive me for getting off topic here, but the World Cup is finally upon us. It's only hours away, and I couldn't be more excited. And for those of you who are ever wondering what other sports I like besides bowling, well, now you know. Football is actually my number one most favorite sport. Bowling is actually my number two. Football is what I started with when I was a little boy, and it's been with me till this very day. And bowling, I actually didn't discover till the age of 23. So yeah, quite late there. Yikes. But yeah, the World Cup is finally here. It feels like it's been a million years, but it's finally here, and I couldn't be more excited. The opener is not really all that great, but it's going to be Qatar, the hosts of this year's World Cup, taking on Ecuador. Not that great, but it does. I don't care. The point is that the World Cup is here, and I couldn't be more excited. And yeah, if you'll know, I'm not sure if you noticed right there, I called it football and not soccer because I refuse to call it that. I don't know who the heck came up with that, but that's not what it's called. I'm sorry if that offends any one of you, but it's called football. If you look at the origin story for it, it goes way back to like the 2000s when the Chinese apparently started it up, but with different rules. And then but I think like the football that we see today was started on the streets of Britain, and I can bet you all the money in my bank account that they didn't call it soccer when they first, started it. I bet you anything that they called it football, and it makes sense that they call it that. I mean, the majority of the game, we're kicking the ball with our feet. We're dribbling the ball with our feet. Football. So, yeah, I call it football. I refuse to call it soccer. Period. Okay, now let's get back to the topic at hand. Bowling. So, in the lead up to this week, I went back to practice, back to the drawing board, and I worked on some things that I felt needed fixing. Kept my footwork in check, kept my swing in check. Everything was good. My release still got it's there, but I don't want to let my guard down on it and just be like, oh, that's it, I'm good. No, I kept that in check. My form at the foul line kept my shoulders and my chest area up to, be able to post more shots at the foul line. Kept that going good. Spares, been working on that. But the big thing that I worked on that I realized that it has been getting away from me was watching my ball and watching the things that I should be watching when the ball is traveling down the lane. So I've been trying to work on paying more attention to where I put the bowling ball down, where it goes when it passes over the arrows, the break point, like what board it's on, so that I can see if I get my ball left of target, right of target, on target. Where the ball is when it hits the pocket, like what board, what it does when it hits the pocket, and where it leaves the pin deck. So I've been working on really trying to pay attention to more of that because obviously for any of you with experience out there know that is very important that you do that. You don't just want your mind to go blank. I realize that I haven't been paying much attention to that, and that's part of the reason why I've been making such terrible shots and why I haven't been able to repeat shots either. So I worked on that in practice, and going into this week of league, I felt pretty good. I will say that I kind of messed up a little bit because I read the piece of paper where they put the standings and the schedule for like what lanes you're going to be on. I kind of read it wrong, and I made a little bit of a mistake. So I found that for week 12, we're going to be on lanes 1 and 2 again. And I accidentally read that as being week number 11, if that makes any sense. So I thought my week 12 was my week 11. So I ended up bringing bowling balls that I felt would work on lanes 1 and 2. So yeah, I ended up with that on this week, if that makes any kind of sense. So yeah, all I could do was really try to just work with what I had. Not that it was like a bad thing that, it's not a totally terrible thing that I did because obviously these bowling balls should be able to work. If they can work good on lanes 1 and 2, then they should be able to work on any of the other lanes. So that's really the only update I have, the only thing I have leading up to this week. So now the question is, how did I fare on, I can't remember what pair of lanes we were on, but yeah, the question is, how did we do? We're going to find out right now. So let's roll the clip. Okay, you guys, so here we go. Week number 11 on lanes 11 and 12. So, uh, yeah, I can't believe I read that piece of paper wrong, thinking that we were going to be on lanes 1 and 2. So I ended up with an arsenal that I had prepared for lanes 1 and 2 on this week. But if it could work on this, on lanes 1 and 2, then it should be able to work on this pair with no problem. So I told myself I was going to make it work. So I took advantage of the 10 minutes of practice, and I picked up the zero gravity first, and because I remember, like I said, that thing that I was doing, trying to watch my bowling ball, watching the path, watching, lay down area, arrows, break point, how it where it enters at the pocket, all that stuff. I was able to really understand what the zero gravity was doing when it was rolling down the lane. So I picked up the zero gravity during the 10 minutes of practice, tossed it down there, and everything just clicked. And I'm like, okay, that's the ball that I'm starting with. But even though I had plenty of time, I still, got warmed up. I took advantage, and I practiced some spares, got warmed up on that, and threw every other ball. And none of them really worked out well except for the zero gravity. So zero gravity is what we were starting with. So that one was a little bit left of target, and it also was kind of a bit slow on the speed, and as a result we have a split to start things off. Okay, so on the left lane, I didn't see any difference compared to the right lane, so I was going to stick with the same plan. 18 on the right, lined up on 18 on the right, lined up on 18 on the left, and hope and pray that it all works out. So yeah, that one was left as well. I didn't really launch it out to the right like I wanted to. Went Brooklyn, but hey, doesn't matter how, it matters how many, right? So as you can see, that one came back kind of light, and I noticed that I got it on the path that I wanted to. So the only thing I could come up with here was that, like in that moment, was that maybe I just didn't apply enough to really get the ball, to come back to the pocket. But like I said, they all fell down, so all worked out in the end. All right, so here we go on frame number 4. I knew now what not to do the next time I was on this lane, and that is that don't get it left. Launch it out there like that. Great shot. Perfect. Fell off on it a little and came back light again. So the weird thing about that shot was that it felt like it was good off my hand, but the fact that it came back kind of light had me thinking, like, am I in the right spot, or what's going on here? Unfortunately, it all happened so quickly that I didn't know if I got the ball out to the right or not. I was like asking myself questions at this point. That one was obvious. Too far to the right, and the ball didn't return. Angle, like the way I launched it out there, I got it all wrong. And as a result, now I leave the 2-8. All right, so for this, I didn't trust the zero gravity to get back. So I picked up the rocket ship because I knew I could kind of trust it a little more. And for a second there, I thought I was going to lose that spare. Yeah, I'm sorry, but for me, that zero gravity is just far too lengthy and a little weak for that 2-8. So I didn't really know how I was going to pick that up with that if I was going to do it. But luckily, I had the rocket ship handy, so I didn't need to worry too much about it. Okay, so going back into this one, I don't even know what frame we're on. Could be the 7th or the 8th, I don't know. I think we're on the 7th frame, but anyway. Going into this shot, I refused to make any moves or anything like that because I told myself, don't get it too far out to the right either. That could have been a reason. But I refused to make any moves because I felt confident that lined up on 18 was the board. Even though I went light those other times that I was on this right lane. So I got it a little more left, and it worked. So I was like, I knew it. I knew that was the right play. So yeah, I did wonder to myself, like, for a little bit, like, why did those other shots come back light? But, they struck. I know I probably shouldn't even be questioning them, but, I wanted to know so that I can assure myself that I wouldn't do that again. But, you know, after that one shot where I got it a little more, you know, to the left and not too much to the right, I was like, I got this. It's all good. But here we go on the left lane now. Not bad. And whew, that one went kind of high. The speed was a little slower. I looked up at the monitor and saw. Yeah, I will say that it's a little bit difficult to tell. Like, you know, like when you're watching your ball yourself in that moment, it's a little bit difficult to be able to process everything. But from this point of view, it looked like I did get it a tad bit to the left. But I was lucky that this zero gravity has the hold that it does. Fell off on it a little. Form was not that great at the foul line. Got that 10 out, luckily. Okay, so we have officially made it to the 10th frame, and things are looking fantastic to start things off. I was relieved when I realized I'd gotten over 200, so that one right there, don't really know what happened with my form at the foul line, but that definitely played a part in why that shot ended up doing what it did. And I ended up leaving the 3-6-10, and I was feeling a little bit worried because, you know, I still, even though I had practiced my spares a couple days ago, my confidence in my spare game was still not 100%. If I had to say, it was probably at like 89, and I can't settle for 89. I got to settle for 100% here. Luckily, I got it. All right, last shot going to the 10th here to close it out. Ugly form at the foul line, kind of fell off on it, but luckily I struck, and we end it with a 234. Okay, so here we go with game number 2 after starting off on a high note with the 234. Really, really great. I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary, so I felt it necessary to just stick to the game plan and continue on 18 on the left and the right with the zero gravity. So here we go, lined up on 18, sliding God knows where, because I drift to the left quite a bit, and we were still good. All right, so here we go on the right lane, and let me tell you something about this zero gravity, if I haven't told you enough about it already, because it's been a while since we last saw this ball. It is such a cheater ball. Like this thing, it has the hold to it if you miss left. It does return if you miss to the right sometimes, but it's such a cheater ball. Look at that. Like, I swear on that shot, it seemed a little to the right, like kind of early, like right there. You see that right there? Probably should have started hooking by now. But instead, chose to hold right there a lot more. Man, freaking hacks. Now, I will say this. I knew that my form was awful at the foul line, but I didn't care because I was in one of these things where if my form needed to look bad at the foul line for me to execute good shots, then that's what I was going to have happen. Left off my hand. And I knew it too. You can see I stood up on it and got lucky there. So here we go, coming up on the right lane. I totally deleted that last shot on the left lane out of my mind. Visualized the good shot before I took it. Stepped up. Thought that was a good one, and it turned out great. So here we go up on the left lane again. Again, picturing the shot in my mind before I even move. I've got it. Very, very nice. But look at that. You see what I mean? How much of a cheater ball this is? That was so far off of what my previous shot. The amount of misroom with this ball is insane. Like, let's look at this, okay? The last shot, I could have sworn it kind of traveled about the same laydown area, about there, and it went about 11 at the arrows and was like somewhere, it stayed at around that area, around 10 and 11, and then it struck. With this one, look where it is in comparison. Much more to the right. I tell you, the amount of misroom you get with this ball is insane. If you can get your hands on the zero gravity, do it. So forgive me for talking so much about the zero gravity, but man, this ball, I feel like it's just another example of one of those things that it's a great ball that nobody realized was great until it was gone. But yeah, it's an asymmetrical solid, ERG solid reactive, and it's one of those weaker bowling balls because of the RG is 255, which makes it super lengthy, and its differential is quite low, 0.037. So that's crazy. The fact that it's an asymmetrical and it's that weak, but it makes an unbelievably fatal combination. Yeah, one crazy thing I will say is I have a Zen Master as well, and that's a solid symmetrical. And in comparison, it's let's see, the RG is 2.49, so that makes it a lot earlier, and its differential is 0.052, and I have the pin above the bridge with the mass bias over to the right. So the crazy thing about it is I basically am playing that exact same path that I'm playing with the zero gravity. So that's crazy that I have a symmetrical and an asymmetrical ball that can play those exact same paths, despite the fact that they have different covers and different cores. Really, really weird how that works, but I'm sure there might be something wrong with my Zen Master if I'm playing that straight with it. Horrible at the foul line, and unfortunately that ended up happening, but that makes sense why that happened. Let's actually recap that real quick, or replay it. So yeah, pretty terrible at the foul line there, fell off, and I don't know. I want to say that I did throw that one a little bit slower. The hold was kind of there. I mean, it made it to the pocket, but unfortunately, it entered the pocket in a way that we leave the 9 pin. And so we end it at 6 in a row. Not a bad run. First time in a while that I've done that. And actually, right here, I suffered a really close call. Take a look. Almost fouled. I looked down right quickly just to see where my foot landed. And luckily, the buzzer didn't go off. So, I didn't foul, but I could see when I looked down. I could see I only just stopped. So, whew, that was a close call. All right, so here we go back on the right lane. I think this is the 8th frame. And how do we recover from that? We recover with a strike. Perfect. Well done. Going into this, I was doing the best that I possibly could to stay in the process, as I've been told. I definitely didn't want to get too distracted and let my mind wander from what I'm trying to remember, and that is the path that I am putting this ball on. I don't remember the laydown area in detail, but I know for a fact that it's rolling at 11 at the arrows, and then the break point is about, I want to say, maybe 9, 10, around there. See that right there? Unfortunately, this dude gets in the way, but right there, I kind of started to notice something, and that was that the ball was like catching something right about here. So I thought, am I going to have to make a move? Possibly, but I wasn't sure because the shot didn't feel good to me. Like I felt like I didn't let it go the way I wanted it to, and with the power that I wanted it to. And then unfortunately, this ended up happening. Lost my balance again, leaned too far into it. The ball caught that dry spot there, and I only ended up getting the 3. All right, so I do believe we have made it to the 10th frame after that open. I wasn't too worried. I didn't let it get to me because you can definitely tell by that shot. But yeah, I didn't let that open get to me because I realized, oh, I'm over 200 again, so we're definitely plain and sailing here. We've set ourselves up nicely for the 3rd game. And yeah, I paid after what happened on that left lane, how I noticed that the ball kind of caught something. At least I swore that I saw it catch something. I thought to myself, okay, definitely pay attention to what is going to happen on this right lane, because if something different is happening on this left lane, then something is definitely bound to change on this right lane. But I stuck to my plan, lined up on 18, and continued doing what I do, and I didn't see anything different, anything out of the ordinary. So yeah, on this shot, I do believe that I might have messed up. I don't remember. Yep, I did, yeah. Fell off, and somehow that ended up happening. That was unusual, because the ball did hit the pocket, but I don't know how to explain that. Can any of you explain that lead to me? Okay, so here we go, the final game of the night, and we have set ourselves up perfectly after getting 234 in game 1 and another 234 in game 2. So before the game got started, I did the math and I realized that all I needed was a 232 for 700, and that is what I wanted. So I was like, I was amping myself up. I was like, dude, I can so do that. So I focused, I didn't let that get to me, stuck to what I was doing. And that strike made it even better. I was like, let's go. Okay, so here we go on the left lane, and I was feeling a little worried because of what happened the last time I was on this left lane. You guys saw I left a 3-6-10 because the ball caught something down lane, or at least I felt it did, and it hooked a lot. So I thought to myself, okay, let's try 19 and hope that's not too much of a move left. It felt a little risky. I was like battling with my own thoughts, thinking, is that too much? I don't know. But at the same time, I was thinking, you know what? It's a risk worth taking because I would much rather come up with a light hit than rather go through the middle and possibly leave a split. So made that full board move from 18 to 19. And watch how this ball hooks. Look at that. That was quite a lot of hook for this ball. So that had me thinking, okay, there is definitely some, a little bit of friction down there, and it's going to make this ball hook. So after that 10-pin lead, though, I thought, okay, maybe just a little too much to the left. I'm going to move to 18.5 the next time I get on this left lane. And luckily, I could still pick up my 10 pins. All right, so while we were on this right lane, continued with the same game plan. Stud on 18, looked like a good shot, but then I saw that. Now it struck, but then I thought to myself, there's friction there, we got to move here too. Something's happening. Okay, so here we go on this left lane, going to experiment and try 18.5. And for any of you out there who are wondering, do half-board moves even make a difference? Well, of course they do. So going into this shot on the right lane, I thought to myself, okay, there's friction on this right lane, kind of like what I saw on this left lane. And after that move from 18 to 19 back to 18.5, I thought, let's try 18.5 on this right lane so we don't, end up having to sacrifice too many frames. So 18.5 is what I went for here. And that one, unfortunately, I got it to the right just a bit. I wanted to get it to the, that's the key for me, to get this ball to the right at the right time. More down here, and I got it more like back here, and as a result, it ended up going through the middle. And now a split. And that had me totally, it did kind of kill a little bit of my confidence because I'm thinking to myself, no, I need to get this high game for 700, and that is totally going to ruin it. But I told myself, just relax yourself, don't let that get to you, just go for the count and move on. Alright, so going into this left lane, I was starting to feel a little bit of the nerves because that split, like I said, it totally ruined everything because it made me realize that I'm really going to have to put up strikes now because that split lowered my max score. But I tried my best not to let it get to me, so I stuck to my plan, stuck to the process, went for it, got it to the right early, and I don't know how to explain that, but I was just glad that it did what it did. Yeah, I was in a little bit of a state of confusion there because I thought to myself, okay, if I got it to the right that early, it should have probably hooked and gone through the nose, maybe gone Brooklyn, but instead there was some hold there. And made it to the pocket, came back light, and then I realized, oh yeah, I'm using the zero gravity. What a cheat. I saw that 10, and it had me wondering, am I going to have to move, or can I stay here a little bit longer? Fell off on that one. But thank God it all worked out in the end. Okay, so here we go into the 9th frame, and let me tell you exactly what I was thinking here. It's actually kind of weird, but okay. When I threw the ball, it felt good off my hand, and 85% of the way down, I thought it was a good shot. But when it got to like the break point area, I was like, oh no. But as you could see by my reaction, I was like, I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, so going into this 10th frame, I was definitely feeling the nerves because I realized I would at least need to strike. A spare of any kind is not going to work here. I would at least need a strike, and that would be the hardest part of the job, to be able to get 700. I was feeling the nerves on this one for sure. And unfortunately, it got to me. That one was kind of left. And yeah, you see my reaction. I was like, dang it. There it goes. It's gone. But you know what? I still put up a really high series. Pretty big improvement compared to, all these other weeks. And one thing's for sure is I was relieved. I feel like the pressure was really on for me because, I'd had enough of all these low series, and after all the the things that I'd practiced, especially with the whole watching my ball thing, that definitely helped, and I'm glad that it paid off here. So yeah, I think I needed like at least like a strike and 8 spare, because if I remember clearly, I would have needed 232 for 700. So and I will admit, I kind of got lucky with that pickup. That's not the way you pick up the 36910. So on this last shot right here, I actually picked up the rocket ship because I knew I was just done. It was over with. No 700. I was a little bummed about it, but can't do anything about it. And we end it with 217. So really, really relieved and glad that this worked out the way it did, and glad that all the practice paid off. Okay, you guys, so here is our summary after week number 11. So we got 234 in games 1 and 2, and in game 3 we got a 217 to finish it off, all for a total of 685. Remarkable improvement compared to last week. As you can see, we got 579 last week, so that our series, the required series needed to raise the average +1 was 607, and I destroyed that. And our pin total now after week 11 is 6,513. After 33 games played, that raises the average from 194 last week all the way up to 197. So made up a lot of ground with that, because I knew trying to raise my average after being at 194 and being on week number 11 now, it was going to be difficult. But luckily, like I said, I made up a lot by doing what I did here. And we're now at 197 and still on that mission to try to get back into 200, because I have not done that yet. And now, as you can see there, the highest game is still 256 from week 1 with the Zen Master. And now our highest series is now officially 685 for this league. So, yeah, I really, really liked what happened here. And I hope that I can continue on with this momentum of mine going into week number 12. And it's going to be a challenge because we're back on 1 and 2 again. And also, I need to let you guys know that because Thanksgiving is on a Thursday next week, there will be no bowling. There will be no league on Friday. So, yeah, we're going on a 1-week break here. So, we'll be returning in December the 2nd, I believe. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. But what I'm going to do in order to fill that, I'm probably just going to try to upload something like a practice video or something. And I have the Fate incoming, so I'll probably just make a video with that and maybe compare them to the other Belmo bowling balls, since I do have the Drive and the Pro Motion, the Trend, and the Trend 2. I don't have the Timeless anymore. That ball was unusable anyway. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I'll try to think of something to put in place of that. So yeah, anyway, I'm Frank the Tank. That was week number 11. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will see you in December. Peace.